Hello guys, welcome back to Car Obsession and welcome to another walk around. This week I'm joined by the new Ford Focus Active. Well, to be more specific, this is the Ford Focus Active X, so it's got a few more features. As always, I will take you around the car, give you my initial impressions and also talk you through the specification. So here it is, the brand new Ford Focus Active X. Now this is the estate version, as you can see. So you do get a bigger boot, which I will come onto in a few moments, well, a little bit later. So the Active X, now let me talk you through the Active specification. So the Active series also has the Car Plus in it and also the Car Plus, sorry, not the Car Plus, the Car Plus, and also the Fiesta. And the idea is that you get a raised ride height. You also get SUV inspired cladding, so you get a bit of extra protection for the bodywork. You get bespoke suspension, and for the Fiesta and indeed the Focus, you also get different driving modes as well. The Active also gives you different body styling as well, so as well as the SUV styling. So this has got a different front bumper to the other Focus models. So let me talk you through the design. Now I know the looks are always going to be subjective. I think it's quite a good looking car, in my opinion. I quite like the 18-inch alloys, which come standard. If you go for the standard Active, you get 17-inch alloys, but because I've got the Active X, I do get larger rims, and I do quite like them. This paint is optional. It's called Metropolis White, and I still cannot make my mind up on it because it's not quite white, it's not quite cream, it's not quite pearl. It's kind of a mixture. Yeah, I don't know whether I like it or not, guys. What do you think? Please let me know in the comment section below. Or actually, I'll tell you what I'll do. I will do a poll, so you can tell me whether or not you like the paintwork. You also get a double exhaust pipe as standard, which gives the car a sporty element, which I quite like. Probably not needed, but it's most welcome in my opinion. You also get black door mirror caps, although this one appears to have, well, I say appears, this one does have body coloured ones, which is a little bit unusual. You also get a black roof as well, and you get black roof rails. Now, because I've got the Active X, I do actually have a panoramic roof, which is very nice when the sun is out, like it is now, kind of. It's a bit cloudy, a bit overcast today. But visually, to look at, I think it's quite a good looking car. Let me step inside. Well, actually, I don't think I mentioned it earlier, but I did speak about the car having a raised ride height, but I don't think I told you by how much. So compared to a standard Focus, the Active is 30mm higher at the front, and it is 34mm higher at the rear. So you do get a bit of extra ground clearance, although it's still not really enough to do proper off-roading. And before you ask, this car does not have four-wheel drive. It is strictly front-wheel drive only. So some of you may think, oh, that's a bit pointless. But I can see where you're coming from, but I'll get onto that a little bit later. Also get rear privacy glass as standard, and you get keyless entry, but the car is already unlocked. Let me just turn the steering wheel straight. Also, as part of the Active specification, you get bespoke interior styling. So as you can see, you've got the A for Active, got nice cloth interior with leather on the bolsters. And I really like the seats, actually. They're comfortable, their headrest is nice and spongy, but it's not too firm. But at the same time, it's not too soft either. And yes, I think the interior is a nice place to be. You've also got leather on the steering wheel. Got a nice soft touch dashboard. I know some of you always say, well, who cares about a soft touch dashboard? But it just makes the inside nicer to be in, and it just points towards better quality. Let me get in the car like so. Just be careful not to bend the wire on my clip-on microphone because they keep breaking on me. I don't want to break this one. So as I said, you do get bespoke styling for the inside. And I really like the touch on the interior trim here. You may not be able to see it because it is quite intricate, but again, you've got little A's that make up this design. Obviously, the A stands for Active, and I just think it's a nice touch. So yes, as I've said, speaking of touch, you get a nice soft touch dashboard. It also extends down here as well. Yeah, of course, there are some harder plastics the more you go down, but it's not a deal breaker in my opinion. I'll tell you one feature I do really like. It seems really silly, but it's just a nice touch. Down here, this is it's not leather, but it is soft material. So when you're driving along, if you want to rest your leg on it, when you're feeling not lazy, but when you want to make yourself comfortable, you can do, because that isn't hard plastic. Yes, it's a soft touch material, and just little things like that, I just really like it. It just means that you can get more comfortable on a longer drive. So let me talk you through the specification. You get an 8-inch touchscreen as standard, which has full Sync 3 system on it. So you've got DAB radio, Bluetooth, also got smartphone connectivity and navigation. Let me fire it up like so. Need to press it. Oh, no, hang on a minute. Bear with me. It's taking a few moments to boot up, which is unusual. Okay, I had to think about it a little bit then. But yes, here we go. You've got the 8-inch touchscreen. As I mentioned, you've got DAB radio, you've got Bluetooth navigation. And the system does work quite well, although, yeah, it is being a little bit sluggish, which is unusual, I must admit. But the system is pretty nice to use. The display isn't the most enticing. There's nothing wrong with it, but the blue and silver just looks a little bit plain in my opinion. But the system does work well, so I haven't really got any large complaints. I've also got a reversing camera, but that is an optional extra. So if I pop that into R, the car has to be turned on for that. Okay, I will show you that in a few moments. Whilst I'm here, this car's got the 8-speed automatic, which is a brand new transmission for the Focus. You can have a 6-speed manual if you prefer. I will talk about the engine a little bit later, and I've just realised I've not told you the prices. So let me do that now. Let me flip you guys around for the time being. So the standard active starts from £21,905, but the Active X starts from £24,405. The car I'm sat in right now does have a few options, which I will go through in a bit. This car I'm sat in now is £31,805. So yeah, this one does have a few options, including the Metropolis white paintwork I showed you earlier. But yes, let me continue going through the specification. So you get heated front seats as standard, which is quite nice because it has been a little bit chilly at points in the UK this week. You also get dual zone climate control, which operate like so, quite standard stuff. You get the selectable driving mode. So if I just get rid of that message. So you've got normal, eco, sport, and then you've got two more which are exclusive for the active. So you have slippery and you have trail to give you better traction when you're driving on more rugged, or I would say roads, but on beaten tracks. So if you happen to go off tarmac and you happen to be on a muddy road or a sandy road or whatever, it will give you better traction. But as I mentioned earlier, this does not have four-wheel drive. You get front and rear electric windows, which is pretty standard nowadays. Got automatic headlights. Got buttons on the steering wheel, of course, for your phone controls. Right, so this car has got the lane centering assist, which is a new safety feature for the Focus. And I've also got adaptive cruise control. Now, I do want to point out these are both optional extras, but I do have the lane keep assist, which is just there. Lane keep assist and lane departure warning, that is standard. So to trigger it, you've got a little button on the end of the stalk, which you can just hit like so. And as you can see, I've turned it off, hit it again, and I turn it back on. As standard, you do get standard cruise control, but not adaptive cruise control. Right, what else can I show you? I've also got the B&O sound system, so try and show you the speaker. You can probably just about see the B&O logo. Again, that is an optional extra, but one I would argue is, it's worth paying for. Let's move away from the specification a little bit and go back to the interior design. I quite like this panel here. It kind of looks like brushed metal. It isn't, it's plastic, but I quite like it. It's quite pleasing. Oh, actually, I forgot to show you. If I turn the engine on for the time being, you will see I do have a head-up display, which is a brand new feature for any Ford in Europe. The display looks really small, but that's merely how it has been picked up and perceived by my camera lens. That is another optional extra, I'm afraid, guys, but it's a handy one to have. If I turn the car, actually, I'll leave the car running for a few moments. Down here, you've got park assist. Technically this has got park assist too, because I've got the automatic gearbox. That is optional. Front and rear parking sensors are standard. Actually, now the car's on, I can show you the reversing camera. So I've got a wide angle camera, which is optional, but the front and rear parking sensors are standard. The quality of the picture is quite good, and you can change the view like so. I'm not a massive fan of that one, but some people may be. Pop the car back into park. What else have I got down here? That turns the traction control off. That allows you to adjust the display on the head-up display. That turns the stop-start off. And as I've mentioned, that's for the parking sensors. Marvellous. This car also has LED headlamps, which again are an optional extra. But as standard, you do get LED fog lights with a cornering function. Let me turn the car off. So just hit the button there. And let me talk you through the space and practicality. So in regard to getting a good driving position, that's very easy. The steering wheel adjusts for rake and reach like so. If I can find the lever, which I can't. Oh, it's on the side. So it's got a good level of adjustability. And as standard, I do have a driver's seat, which is 6-way electronically adjustable. So I've got buttons down here. Would it work when the car's off? Yep, it does. I can go down. I can go backwards and forwards, of course, and I can also adjust the backrest as well. Anyway, back onto space and practicality. The door bins aren't massive, if I'm going to be honest, but I do like the fact they are lined with fabric. Just helps to give a bit of class. I can fit a 500 milliliter bottle of water in there with a little bit of space left over, not a massive amount. You can fit a 1 litre bottle in there, but it won't quite sit properly. Sorry guys, I'm having to juggle my camera and this bottle of water. So you can fit a 1 litre bottle of water in there, but it doesn't quite sit properly. Although, to be fair, it sits well enough, but yeah, it is a little bit loose. You've got 2 cup holders in the middle. Well, can you call it 3? They've got a weird one here, which I'm not really too sure what you what you could fit in there. But as you can see, I've got my 500 milliliter bottle of drink in there, but you can't fit the 1 litre bottle in there. It just simply won't fit. So if you had a 750 milliliter bottle of water, that could well fit, or obviously coffee cups will fit and flasks should fit as well. But yeah, a 1 litre bottle of water will not fit unless, obviously this is quite a square bottle. If it had a different design, it may fit. But anyway, I'm starting to waffle and to ramble on, so let's move on. You've got a cubby hole here where you can pop your smartphone or any other smaller items. Apologies, the lighting is a little bit iffy. This car does have a wireless phone charging pad, but I'm afraid that is another option. So when you put your smartphone in here, it will of course charge it if your phone has got wireless charging capabilities. Not all of them do. Now, because this car does not have a manual handbrake, I do have an electric parking brake. It does mean you free up a bit of space here. So you've got a slot here where you can pop the car key or perhaps a packet of chewing gum or any other small items. You've got an armrest here, which is adjustable, like so. That can be lifted up. And in here, you've got more storage. You've got a little tray where you could perhaps put some loose change. Lift it up, and as you can see, you've got more space in there. I've got my some of my lunch. You've got a USB port, and you also get a pen holder as well, which is quite handy. I must admit, I've never needed a pen holder in a car, but it's nice to know you have one if you do happen to need one. You've got a sunglasses holder up here, which is quite handy. And of course, last but not least, you do have a glove box, which offers a decent amount of space. You've got a little shelf up here where you've got the owner manual. And you've got a decent space inside. And once again, it is lined with fabric, which is quite a nice touch. Well, the back of it is, which you can't really see because of the lighting. I do apologise. But yeah, you do have a bit of fabric lining in there as well. Right, so let me get into the back so I can show you rear space. Another handy, albeit optional feature, door edge protectors. So when you go to open the door, you see they pop out. So if you happen to be in a car park and you're a bit careless and you swing your door open, if it happens to hit someone else's car, it shouldn't do any damage because you've got a rubber protector. Quite a handy touch. Now, apologies, let me move some of my filming stuff out the back. I've got my camera slider there. I've got my umbrella, which is always a handy object in Britain. So as always, the driver's seat has been set for me. I'm 6'2", so I am of course a taller person. But like the standard Focus, I've got plenty of knee room back here and a good amount of leg room as well. So the new Focus is built on a new platform which gives you better leg room in the rear, and as you can see, I do have more of it. I can also fit my feet underneath the seat in front of me, so I can stretch back and relax. Now, because this car's got the optional, sorry, no, it's not optional, so a standard panoramic roof, which is very nice, don't get me wrong, it's very nice on a day like today when the sun does eventually come out. However, it does mean it does limit your headroom a little bit. So I have got enough, and I've got a few millimetres to spare, but if you were taller than me, then you may find headroom quite tight in the back. But for most people, it should be fine. Now, could you fit 3 people back here? It would be a bit of a squeeze. I think it is doable. Thankfully, the transmission tunnel isn't too big. Yes, it is a little bit pronounced, but it's not a massive lump, so you could seat someone in the middle. Although that seat does look to be set a little bit higher up. Let me squeeze my bum into it. Yeah, it is set a little bit higher up, but I've still got a good amount of headroom. If anything, I've got more headroom in the middle than I have on the side, because obviously on the side you've got the kind of supporting bits, I suppose, for the panoramic roof, whereas in the middle I don't have that. You've also got a blind, which you might be able to see just behind me. That blind can come across, so if you want to, if you don't want to have the light coming into the car, you can use this blind, which is quite handy. Right, so let's crack on with practicality in the back. So the door bins aren't massive, but they should be big enough for a bottle of drink. Let me get my smaller bottle of drink, which is just here. Yep, it does fit in, and there's a bit of space left over. Not for any massive items, obviously, but a chocolate bar, perhaps, maybe even a packet of crisps might fit in there. Now, I would have liked to have had an armrest in the middle, because it just gives you a bit of extra comfort, and you can put cup holders in there as well. But nope, sadly, there is no armrest. But you do get a 12-volt socket in the back, which is just down here. So if your rear passengers if they want to charge their smartphone or their tablet or any other electrical device on the move, they can do so. And to finish off with, you do get these little, not going to say cargo netting, but it is netting, but obviously can't fit that much in there. But for a magazine or a map, that should be just fine. And of course, you've got one on the passenger side as well. So let me move on to the boot. So this one does have a hands-free electric tailgate. So if I wave my feet underneath it like so, yeah, sometimes those systems can be a little bit fiddly. As you can see, well, as usual, I've got all of my filming crap in there, so I will cut away to a bit of footage where the boot is empty, but hopefully you can see the boot is massive. To be more specific, it offers 608 litres worth of space, so it is pretty gargantuan. I don't think it's the biggest in class, but it's still very usable. But if you want to fold the 60/40 rear seats down, you get 1,653 litres. And to fold the rear seats down is very easy. You've got a lever. That one won't go down because I've just realised I've got my camera slider there. So let me just move that out of the way. So yeah, it's very easy to get the rear seats down. And what I really like, now this has got one of those retractable luggage covers, which in my experience, they can be quite fiddly to remove and put back in. I had a Honda CR-V last week, and to get the luggage cover out was fine, but to get it back in was quite a faff. However, no such problem in the Ford, because you've got a little tab here, you pull it, and the luggage cover simply just slides out very easily, and to put it back in is just as easy. Let me just remove that for the time being. Just pop it down ever so carefully. And as you can see, when the rear seats are folded down, they are pretty much flat on the floor. So if you want to put larger items in here, such as furniture, if you want to go to the tip, or if you're maybe even moving house, or if you want to put mounting bites in here, you can do so. And yeah, you've got plenty of space. So let me just, actually I'll put that back in a few moments. Better still, as standard, you do get a spare wheel. So if I just lift up this flap here, got a bit of extra storage underneath here as well. So if you want to put some items out of sight, you can do so. So yes, there we go. You do get a spare wheel, and you've also got the subwoofer for the B&O system as well. And there's no nasty step into the boot. The entrance is pretty much nice and flat. It's flush. So once more, if you want to load bigger, heavier items, it is easier to do so. So let me, of course, finish by talking about the engine. Pull it twice. So there are a few engines available for the Active, of course. The engine I have is the 1.5 litre EcoBoost engine, which offers 150 horsepower with 240 Newton meters of torque. It can be mated to a 6-speed manual, but as I've said, it is mated to an 8-speed auto. In regard to performance, it will hit 62 miles per hour in 9.9 seconds and continue to a top speed of 125 miles per hour. But I'm sure you're more concerned about the economy. So on a combined run, this engine can offer up to 40.9 mpg, and the emissions are 136 grams per kilometre. So yes, that's pretty much the engine covered. You can of course have a diesel if you want. You can have a 1.5 litre EcoBlue diesel or a 2 litre EcoBlue diesel. And if you don't want to have this particular EcoBoost engine, you can have a 1 litre EcoBoost. The 1 litre EcoBoost offers 125 horsepower. The 1.5 litre EcoBlue diesel offers 120 horsepower, and the 2 litre EcoBlue diesel offers 150 horsepower. So let's have one more walk around the Ford Focus Active X. If you have any questions or queries, please drop me a comment or a question in the comment section below, and I will answer you as soon as possible and to the best of my ability. There will of course be a comprehensive review coming. In fact, that will be filmed after I have filmed this video, and that should be ready to watch in a few days. But yes, there we have it guys, the brand new Ford Focus Active X Estate. So I hope you have enjoyed this video or you found it useful. If you have, please do give it a massive thumbs up. If you are subscribed, don't forget to click that bell icon so you get notified every time I make a video. And if you aren't subscribed, guys, what are you waiting for? Be sure to subscribe for more car obsession.